This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and really super pleased to have on the line with us Congressman Keith Ellison. He is brilliantly representing the 5th District of Minnesota, the Deputy Director of the DNC. His website, ellison.house.gov or democrats.org, and you can tweet him at Keith Ellison. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Hey, good to be back, man, and thank you for bringing it every single day, all the time, so people know what's going on around here.
We're doing our best. We are absolutely doing our best, and I understand that you're more than happy to take calls from our listeners today if anybody has any. So if you have a question for the number 2 guy in the Democratic Party and one of our best and most progressive members of the United States House of Representatives, give us a shout at 202-808-9925. Congressman, what is on your agenda right now? What are you looking at? I just noticed that apparently the last person Donald Trump talked to yesterday about health care was Rand Paul, and so now he's going out and saying, well, Rand Paul says we should repeal Obamacare altogether, just do away with everything, and then we'll fix it later. Not to worry, right? Just get rid of those taxes on the billionaires. What do you think?
Well, what I think is this. Back when they were having 60 votes to repeal the Affordable Care Act, and I might say, Tom, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, their big complaint was that, the people who were on the exchanges, that they weren't working very well, and this had to change. And they also made up some stuff about death panels, and we all remember that mess. The problem is nothing in the American Health Care Act or any version of Trumpcare really addresses any of these problems. In fact, they make them worse. They make every plan to have higher deductibles, and the premiums will go up by dramatically, and they'll serve far fewer people. The only salient feature of every iteration of Trumpcare, House, Senate, whatever, is that it massively rewards the richest people by cutting their taxes. So so all that mess, all that trouble they caused back in 2010, all the fighting, all the allegations, all the money they spent was only to help the richest people in America get more money. And that to me seems pretty pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, it really and truly is. And not only that, we're looking at the possibility of literally hundreds of thousands of Americans over the next decade dying because they don't have access to health care. This is serious stuff.
People die from lack of health care coverage. They literally die when they don't get the services that they need. This is a number, and the bottom line is that it doesn't have to be this way. People will die for lack of health care coverage. People will go into bankruptcy. People go into financial ruin. People will end up homeless. And one of the things that they're attacking, the program with the biggest bullseye on is probably the Medicaid program. Mm-hmm. And, Medicaid covers at least 4 core sections of Americans. One is senior citizens in nursing homes, right? Mm-hmm. Senior citizens in nursing homes. If you are caring for mom and dad, you might be a middle-class family, but your mom or dad is aging, your grandparents aging, and you are trying to be a good family member, you may need Medicaid to keep them receiving the care that they need. Another group is, kids who have serious disabilities. I don't care if you're solidly middle class. You might be bringing home a fair pay, but if you have a child who has serious special needs and needs a lot of care, you're going to need Medicaid. If you're a low-income person, it doesn't. You're going to be needing Medicaid, and health care for kids often is paid for through Medicaid. So it's hurting seniors, it's hurting children, it's hurting people with disabilities, and it's hurting the families that care for them. Yeah. And that's probably 73 million people, okay? 73 million people. Wow. And so that is the program that is in the crosshairs of the American Health Care Act, also known as Trumpcare. Yeah. And, for me, if anyone ever wanted to say, what's the difference between, the social Darwinists who've now taken over the Republican Party and the humanitarians who are, the progressives and often found in the Democratic Party? What is the difference? And the difference is that, we don't think America's biggest problem is that rich people pay too much in taxes. And they do think that is America's biggest problem.
Yeah.
We think America's biggest problem is that not enough people can go to the doctor when they're sick.
Yeah, or go to college when they want, or find a job.
Keep on going. I mean, you know exactly what I'm saying, Tom. And so, like, that's on my agenda. May I also share another thing I've been doing all week?
Please.
So one of the programs that I operate at the DNC under Tom Perez's leadership is the Resistance Summer. Mm-hmm. And it's a 90-day intensive program where we are engaging people on the ground in all 50 states. But, to do that effectively, you got to train people. So we had about 150 organizers from 43 states in Washington for a 4-day intensive training program. And we had leaders like Heather Booth. And, Tom, I don't know if you know Heather, but this is an awesome woman, by the way. I mean, Heather Booth she's a white woman, but she went down in 1964 to Mississippi to be part of Freedom Summer.
Wow.
And that's when she operated under the leadership of John Lewis, and that's where she met Fannie Lou Hamer. And the bug that bit her for social justice activism at the age of 19 has never left her. And so she was one of our trainers this weekend. So she was doing that, and we had folks coming through. Jamie Harrison came through. Tom came through. And we had great trainers like Artie Blanco. Artie Blanco is a tremendous leader from Nevada, and she is a tremendous trainer. She trains everybody, but she's particularly good at Latino outreach. And we had other great trainers like Aaron Black, who is a young man who's been. I met him when he was doing. Aaron was doing Occupy Wall Street. And he has just kept the fires burning. He's a Minnesota boy like me. And then Melissa Byrne, who's also, a person I met Occupy Wall Street a few years ago. She was there helping to train people. How do you knock on a door? How do you keep your data straight? How do you persuade people? What do you do when you run into a problem? Just a whole 4-day intensive program. And I just wanted to let folks know because folks think like, well, what are they doing over there at the Democratic Party? We're training activists and organizers. We're knocking on doors all over this country. We're reaching out to people. We had several rallies this week, and the organizers, part of their training was to go to the rallies on the Hill to save and protect health care. And so that's kind of one of the other things that I wanted to mention. We are drilling down and re-engaging and recommitting to the organizing model so that we can be in touch with our neighbors every inch of this country.
That is absolutely marvelous. Let's pick up a couple of phone calls here, okay?
Sure.
Okay, Gary in Washington, D.C., listening on Sirius XM. You are on the air with Congressman Keith Ellison.
Boy, this
Hey, Gary.
is great. I have a situation. I'm living in Washington, D.C. now, and I lived in Virginia from 94 to January of 07. Just recently, I got a letter from Fairfax County telling me that I'm still registered to vote in Fairfax County. They sent it to my current Washington, D.C. address. I was unaware that when I moved from state to state, that I had to notify the state that I left that I'm no longer living there. I mean, I haven't paid local taxes since, I left in 07. So this is a situation. I cannot be the only person in this situation. I'm sure they could use this as a means to knock me off the voter rolls, even in Washington, D.C., saying that I'm registered in 2 places.
So this goes back to Chris Kobach's interstate cross-check. Gary, thank you. Congressman?
Yeah, I would simply say call to the folks who sent you the letter. Tell them you now reside in Washington, and assuming that you do want to vote in Washington, just make sure that you're registered there. And, of course, continue to tell the story. That cross-check phenomena where people are being excluded and kicked off rolls is a very dangerous tool, just as dangerous as the photo ID and all the other tricks and devices. So I just thank Gary for bringing this to our attention because it helps alert people to what they need to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, absolutely. Congressman, you're going to stick around for the half hour, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. We're gonna hit just a real quick break here. Congressman Keith Ellison is on the line with us, taking your calls, and we will be back in just a minute. Congressman Ellison, you can reach him at ellison.house.gov, and of course he's the #2 guy at the DNC, Deputy Director at Democrats.org. You can tweet him at Keith Ellison. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
More with Congressman Keith Ellison right after this.